Welcome to Crown Level Confidence with Caliah Jinaye, the podcast where we empower and inspire you to achieve unstoppable confidence and self-belief. I'm your host, Caliah Jinaye, a wife, mom, entrepreneur, as well as a certified life coach and motivational speaker with a background in humanities and communication. I'm excited to navigate this transformative journey with you. In each episode, I'll bring you candid conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories from remarkable women who have conquered many challenges and risen to new heights. Get ready to have your crown straightened as we listen, learn, and laugh together so we can level up. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this newest episode of Crown Level Confidence. Y'all, I am your beloved host, Caliah Jinaye, confidence extraordinaire communication specialist, and I am so excited to bring to y'all, to introduce my new friend, Laura Morrice. I'm going to tell you about her, but Laura, say hey.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Y'all, let me tell you a little bit about Laura, and then we're going to hop into what I know is going to be a very interesting conversation. So Laura Morrice is an experienced energy healer and a mindset coach with over 2 decades of expertise. She specializes in removing blockages that hinder personal growth using a blend of Reiki, crystal healing, EFT, TFT tapping, meditation, and life coaching. Her holistic approach combines science-backed techniques with ancient wisdom to deliver profound results. Laura's mission is to empower individuals to shed limiting beliefs, discover their true essence, and make a significant impact in their lives. Doesn't she sound like the most interesting woman in the world? This is going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome, Laura. So thank you so much for sharing, time and space with us. It is truly a blessing, just the fact that you're willing to impart some of your wisdom and, things that you've learned, along this professional journey, yes, but personal journey as well. So, I'm already super intrigued by you, and I know the listeners are too. So, just kind of bring us in, tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do.
Okay, well, like you said, I'm Laura Morrice. I live in Scotland. I'm 45 years old. I'm a mum. I'm a wife. The work that I do, I got into it because of my own personal life experience. So a little bit of a background. I grew up, my mum was an alcoholic when I was growing up, but she was like a functioning alcoholic. My dad worked offshore. My twin brothers are 7 years older than I am. So by the time they left for uni, it was just me and mum at home. And during that time, I was young, I was a young teenager. This is about maybe 12, 13. I wouldn't have said that I was lacking in emotional nourishment. But I was, my mum, she had her own emotional trauma, things that she wasn't able to deal with. And, her way of dealing with it, unfortunately, it was to go towards alcohol. And as a teenager, that left me very confused, because it's right at the time in life when you're beginning to learn who you are. Well, not even learn who you are, discover who you can be in the world. And because of my lack of emotional nourishment in that sense, coming from the divine feminine, I was then looking for acceptance and worthiness and love outside of myself. That led me down a very slippery slope that saw me becoming a heroin addict at the age of 16.
Wow.
And it wasn't just like a kind of regular addiction. My boyfriend at the time was 12 years older. Again, it's highlighting that me looking for acceptance and love. So because he was dealing, there was no shortage of that. So it was a very heavy addiction for just over 2 years. I got away from that. I got clean, took my power back. That's when I went to college and studied beauty and complementary therapy. And that's when I first got into energy healing. And fast forward a few years, I was then working at one of the world's most prestigious private members clubs. I was running the spa there, and I got into another relationship. This time the person was like already a best friend. I thought, this is safe. I'm not going to get hurt. But because I hadn't healed from the emotional trauma, I still didn't understand yet, just exactly what was lacking. So again, I was attracting someone who was also emotionally stuck. that relationship went on for 6 years. And by the end of it, I was more lost then than when I was at my worst with heroin. It
Wow.
had just stripped away my whole identity. So at this point, that's when I kind of just surrendered to everything, and the universe went, right, here you go. And I was catapulted into the world of energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I studied Reiki, and I kind of fast tracked my way through to my Reiki masters, not out of a want. This was just being given to me. And I remember saying, I've actually written this in my book as well, I wasn't learning, I was remembering. It was like I was remembering part of who I was at my core.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I'd already been introduced into the chakra system, but Reiki really was the big introduction, because I was having to do so much work on myself. As I was going through my chakras, it started to unravel all the aspects of my life. And I was able to start making meaning of it. And through the pain of my trauma, it was like starting to put all the pieces of my jigsaw together.
Mm-hmm.
So the work that I do now is I combine energy healing with mindset coaching, as you had said. My niche is getting to the roots of people's emotional trauma, because often they have an awareness of it, but not really. And they certainly don't understand the limiting beliefs that they have then created as a result of the life's conditioning and experience they've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, my work led me to realize I was identifying to so many labels that weren't actually me.
Mm-hmm.
It was false beliefs I'd picked up along the way, like I was unworthy of love. I wasn't good enough, to receive something. Just so much lack and so much fear. Fear
Mm-hmm.
then became a very dominant part of what was controlling me and my beliefs. So now this is how I work with people, get to the roots of that. And once you work on what has been blocking you, you then start to discover who you truly are underneath all of those false limiting beliefs. And that's just the best thing to align people with. It's just
Absolutely.
magical.
Absolutely. We so I gotta tell you, Laura, and I know that our listeners, they know this is pre-recorded, but I know that when they hear your episode, I'm gonna get a lot of messages and some comments and some text, and let me tell you why. So our audience is primarily faith-based, right?
Yeah.
And so I know they're going to be like, Clea, you got this lady on here talking about energy and chakras and Reiki. Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
because here's the thing. We don't discriminate, here in Crown Level Confidence. And there's so many different ways to learn about yourself. As for me, yes, I'm a believer and I've got my ways that I deal with the things of life, and walking through exactly what you've described, for me, that translates to deliverance, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm putting this out there to show people that we can bridge the gap. We can come from different backgrounds and we can come together to lead people to live their best lives in the way that they need to do that. I'm well aware that not every single listener of Crown Level Confidence is
Absolutely.
a Bible believing Christian, loves Jesus and all
Well,
that stuff.
here's
And
here's
and
the
and
thing.
you can navigate life, and figure out where these different things fit and how it works for you. So I wanted to address the virtual elephant in the room, Laura, and extend, my hand to you and say, let's have this conversation, because a lot of people shy away from things they don't understand out of
Yeah.
fear, right?
Yes.
And I just think that it shows us, as women, coming together. We're in totally different parts of the world, right? With totally different backgrounds and experiences, coming together with the shared belief that we can uplift women to build their confidence and live their best lives. So I'm really excited to be having this conversation and to get to know you, right? Because I don't know
Yeah.
how else I could have encountered you in my life if not for our love right now, of reaching out and
Yes.
uplifting women. So this fires me up.
I love what you said as well. Going into like Christianity and everything. I was brought up as a Christian. I went to church every Sunday. I went to, Sunday school and Bible study. And in all honesty, I came away from it, once I kind of hit mid-teenage years. Not intentionally. And then as I got into spiritual work, now this is where it kind of bridges. We are all spiritual beings, first and foremost.
Yep.
All of us. The human experience, that's very much the lesser part of us. And over the years, as I've worked with the chakras, what they've actually done is it's brought me closer back into, especially the teachings of Jesus. When I look at the work, like when I look at the work of like the Gospel of the Essenes and things like that, the 7 internal churches, they relate to the 7 chakras, each and every one. So like I very much see the chakra system as our internal pathway to enlightenment. Because as much as we are all individual, we are all one at the end of the day. It's the same energy that makes us up. It's the same issues we all face. And it's the same thing we're all striving towards, is to live a life that is aligned and connected with truth, with love, and with light. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that, and the more I study, start to see the correlation between teachings of Jesus and how that in the world that we live today, so much diversity has been created on purpose to steer us away from that internal truth. So thank you for addressing.
Absolutely.
I used to live from a place of separation from that. And I know a lot of other people do as well. And now that there's more of this coming together, yeah, it's allowing more people to feel that deeper sense of wholeness and acquire a life that has more, I suppose, satisfaction, but through integrity and authenticity.
Absolutely. Of course. And I always maintain the belief, I share my platform, obviously, right? I wouldn't say, whoever, wherever, but for the most part, it has to make sense. At the end of the day, it was a family audience, you read the rules, no, profanity, all the things. But at the end of the day, I do share the platform with other coaches, mindset coaches as yourself and different things, because I have the ultimate belief that every individual, gets to choose who they listen to, what advice they take, and there's no, I don't know, exclusivity. That's the word I'm looking for, right? It's not like, oh, I'm only going to ever listen to this one person say this one thing. You have to check yourself, right? Like I'm personally not God, I got the love of Jesus in me, but there's going to be something. I believe that everyone, no matter where they come from, can say something to leave an impact, right? Like I can learn from you, I can learn from almost anybody. And yes, I have my internal discernment, and I speak that over our listeners, right? Like y'all, I'm talking to y'all now directly. I'm looking at her, but I'm talking to y'all. You have to have your own discernment, right? I'm going to present to you all different kinds of people and perspectives. We have conversations where we agree or we don't agree, and ultimately it's your responsibility to distill it down, to get in your quiet place, your meditation time, your prayer time, what that looks like for you as an individual, to say, okay, what can I take from this? What can I learn from it? And leave the rest, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have a saying: take inspiration from others, but never direction.
Ooh.
Because ultimately, our path to enlightenment, our path to living a life that's aligned with our truth and integrity, it has to come from within. So absolutely. And here at the end of the day, no one has the answers, for sure. This is what, we have to take our own discernment into things. We, like you said, approach things with an open mind. Be open. How does this resonate with me? How could that shift in perception assist and help me on my journey and my path? So yeah, reading from the same page.
Yes, and I love this. So, kind of share with us, from your experience, what are some of the common, blockages or imbalances, especially, in women that can hinder them from reaching their full potential, right? And I know you have some advice as to how we can guide them, but kind of first, let's unpack this. Like, what's in our way?
Okay, the three biggest emotional blockages that we face, the first one's fear, the second one is unworthiness, and the third one is doubt.
Fear, unworthiness, and doubt. Okay.
Fear ties into the root chakra. Because when we are in a state of alignment with source energy, there is no fear. We know that fear is the illusion. Fear is connected to the ego, and it's there to keep us down. It's there to keep us believing in the false truths. It's there to stop us growing, aligning, and evolving with light. It shows up in so many ways as well. Like when we first speak about fear, we often think about scared and hiding. Yes, that's fear. But someone who is overly angry, overly dominating and manipulating of other people, they're actually operating from a place of fear. It's just at the opposite end of the stick. They're scared because they can't control certain aspects that are outside of themselves. And at the end of the day, the only thing we ever have control over is our own energy. And when we lose sight of that, that's when we start to try and control things that are on the outside of us, outside circumstances. We try to control other people's response towards us. And it leads to, nothing good at all. That then flows into unworthiness. How many people feel that they're unworthy of receiving more, of being more, unworthy of love, unworthy of living a life that's everything that they could possibly dream of? At the end of the day, we're all born worthy. No one's born. You look at little babies, they're not lying there thinking they're unworthy. If they're hungry, they start crying and they scream until somebody takes notice of them.
Oh, yes, they do.
They only stop that if their cries aren't answered too many times. You see, so it's our human conditioning that starts to have us believe these negative attributes that aren't true. And then if you believe that you're unworthy, you're naturally going to go into doubt. You're going to doubt your own abilities. You're going to doubt your right to self-confidence. You're going to start feeling shame for things that you plexus. Those three make up the lower three chakras that are within us. The lower three, they are all connected to our human conditioning, our human life experience. The heart is then the bridge. And the upper three chakras, the throat, third eye, and crown, they connect us to the spiritual aspect of our being, the part of our being that knows no fear, it knows no unworthiness, and it knows no doubt. And that's the part of us that's always screaming out, I'm here, I'm here. But because of our conditioning, that falls on deaf ears. And then we make the voice of the ego louder.
You've definitely given us all something to really think about, Laura.
I hope so. Because at the end of the day, I truly believe we're all here to live a life that's beautiful, that's aligned with love, joy. And, if we were to strip away all these false layers of human conditioning, who would we be operating as a who would we be if we were truly embracing unconditional love? And that's who we get to be, but we have to choose that path. And that's the catch. That's the catch when it comes to our human life. We have free will. We get to choose which path. We get to choose which thoughts. That's why the path to inner healing has to be one that's taken like I say, take inspiration, but not direction, because we have to walk our path. We are the one that have to make the aligned choices.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so clearly it's a lot easier said than done, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
As with most things that are well worth it, right? We can talk about it all day long, but for someone who, you're speaking to someone right now. I know you're speaking to me, but I know there's a listener, there's a woman somewhere in the world, because we're worldwide, obviously. You're in a different country than I am. There's a woman somewhere in the world who's like, okay, she's speaking to me right now, but I don't know what to do. What's the next step? How do we get out of the FUD, right? The fear, the unworthiness, the doubt. How do we break away from that and get toward, getting aligned with the light and in our path that we're supposed to be on?
That's why I love the chakra system. When you start to study it, like each chakra has a main concern and a main area. So for example, your root chakra, its main concern is basic human survival, our needs being met. So that governs things like your home, your safety, your security, your place within the family unit, your place within your community. How safe and secure do you feel? The biggest blockage to that is fear. So if you then take those elements of the root chakra and how does it show up? When I was growing up, how safe and secure did I feel in my home environment? Because from examining your life experience, you then start to go, I was made to believe X, Y, and Z through my experience. But I now know that that's not true. So how have I been convinced to believe in the false truth? That starts to show how you've been conditioned. And once you get that level of awareness, then you're able to say, well, I know that's not mine because I inherited that from this person or that situation or that experience. Then once you have a reason, once you understand why you believed something that isn't true, then you can begin the rewiring process. One of the best tools that we have is meditation. It's not to think about nothing. It's to train ourselves to not to be, well, it's to train our mind to choose where we focus and apply our energy. So if we're constantly consuming distractions from outside noise, news, TV, it's endless, family members, society as a whole. If we're constantly listening to this outside noise, we're not quieting our minds to become that channel for source, where we hear the truth, where we feel it. So meditation's the first thing. From that, we start to connect into ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we know what's right and wrong within us. It's just often we make that wrong choice. But spending more quiet time alone allows you to really begin to know yourself. And once you begin that, then you're able to strip away the labels that are yours. Or sort the labels. What's really me? What's not me? That's the first thing. Affirmations are another really powerful tool, because once you start to discern between what your truth is and what the false truth is, we then need to begin the rewiring process of our mindset. Now, all of our beliefs that control our habitual patterns, they're stored in our subconscious mind. Nothing gets through the gatekeeper of the subconscious mind on a conscious level. And that's why so many people fail to, for example, stop smoking. That's why so many people fail, like with diets or exercise, because the truth that where they're operating from, that's been ingrained in our subconscious mind from a young age. And then we go through life building on that belief system, because the 12 universal laws are always working. So you've heard of the law of attraction, most people have, yeah? But the bit they leave out about the law of attraction is its connection to the law of vibration. So you're not just a physical being, you're physical, your thought, your emotions, your spirit. Each part of that being that makes up your whole is sending out an energetic signal, a frequency. Your emotions will always be louder than your thoughts. That's why when you start using affirmations, let's just take up one that's very random. Let's just say somebody wants to be more happy. And they start saying, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. They can say it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're not feeling it inside, what's happening is they're sending out contradicting signals.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that the universe responds to is the loudest one, which is always your emotional response. So we need to start peeling everything back to see, well, how do I really feel about this? Because that's where the truth lies. Once you get into there, then you can start to use the affirmations from an emotional level and begin to rewire the mindset that's controlling the subconscious mind. My three biggest tools that I use with everyone in the beginning, and the reason it's these three is because they also empower your intuition and your trust in that intuition. So it's meditation, visualizations, and affirmations. Because each one is forcing you to connect. Well, it's not forcing you, but to use them properly, you have to connect inwards to discern your truth.
Wow.
And
No, keep going. Don't
I
let
was
me
just
cut
going
you
to
off.
say, as you begin to work with them, you can't but help build up that inner intuition. And the more you use it, because you're starting to silence out the outside noise, you see. So then you start to go, oh, well, this came up for me in a meditation today. And then you might be going about your business, and a song might come on the radio that reaffirms something that you felt. Or you might hear someone say something in the passing. Or the sign might be even more prominent. Something may literally come along and land in your lap and you go, oh, that I knew that. And that's the first way. And then you're like, ah, I was right. The more that happens, the more you build up your natural intuition and your faith and trust in that. And the more you do that every day, the more you begin to silence out the false distractions, the false voice of the ego, and the more you're able to tap into your higher self.
All right, y'all. Laura gave us some amazing things to think about. And I, I'm a little nerdy. I love a good assignment. I love some tips, some action steps, some things I could put into practice. So thank you, for that. And, if no one else, I know the truth, but if no one else, you've impacted me personally. So let me just go ahead and give you that
Thank you so much.
instant thank you, here in the spot. But I mean, I honestly will, I have that American thing in me that I could listen to you talk. I'm like, oh, she's in Scotland. Listen to her voice, y'all. Can't you just listen to her talk about anything? But honestly, aside from that, your expertise and your perspective, I could listen to you all day. However, it is time for the final word. It goes by so fast on
It
this
really does.
show.
It really does. Especially when you're speaking about things that you love.
Yes,
I could speak about
absolutely.
this all day long.
Yeah. So we're here at the final word. Our listeners, they're wrapping up their lunch break, or they've arrived at their destination. They're about to get out the car. Laura, please give us that nugget of wisdom, that gem, the jewel that you want to drop. So as, we go throughout the rest of our day or, in our life, we can remember back, oh, Laura did tell me that. Like, what is it that you want to leave us with today?
I want to leave you with, your trauma is not here to define you. It's there to align you.
Mm.
And I believe that true of everyone. If we are willing to really go in and, well, for me personally, from my own life experience, this is exactly what I did. All of my trauma, all of the things I'd been through, I was able to examine it. And when I stepped out of the victim mode, when I stepped out of looking to blame outside circumstance for what had happened, that's when I realized, no, every step of this dance was always meant to lead me here. Every single step. Everything is set up for us to win if we choose to see it from that perspective. And once you do, the pain of your trauma is something that you can use to lead yourself to liberation, because there's always a lesson in it. It's always stripping away a layer of false truth So we can use all of the bad things, bad in quote, you know, in quotations, all of the hurt, all of the pain. We can actually use this to become more of our authentic self and then lead from that place of authentic integrity. We can literally lead with love. And whether you see yourself as a leader or of others or not, we all have to lead ourselves through life. And I believe that doing that from a place of alignment, aligning with the truth, with love, with light, that's how we get there. And for me, the chakra system really has been that stage of life. It allows me to unwrap all of the traumas I've been through and how they relate to me, how they even show up in my physical body as pain and physical symptoms. And then once you tie in with that, you can start to strip it away and become whole again. So yeah, your trauma is not here to define you. It's there to align you.
Well, if that was ever a mic drop moment, Laura, you have just given us one. Wow, I cannot express my gratitude in a bigger way, Laura. Thank you for stepping into the Crown Level Confidence community, to touching us, bringing in your perspective and your expertise. We need it, right? We are never in a position to where we know enough, right? Or we've learned enough. And so, yeah, and I just appreciate your willingness to share what you've learned, with us. And I want to make sure our listeners know that they can get more of you, right? This is, it's a two-way platform, right? You're sharing with us. I'm sharing my audience with you. So y'all, if you are, impacted with what Laura had to say, you want to get more information, of course, all you have to do is go to the description, right? Click on her links. We've got some special goodies down there for you, how you can keep in touch with her. You want to leave her, obviously, some comments on the podcast, whatever platform you're listening on. I'm sure she would love that. But if you want to reach out to her on an individual level, right? You got some things you want to work through. You're going through something in your life and you're like, okay, that lady, she beat heroin, she beat low confidence, she beat all these different things in life. I need to hear from her. You can go to www.lauramorrice.com and you can get in touch with her. I'm gonna let her tell you about her program, but please express your gratitude to her. Let her know that she is doing what she's supposed to be doing, right? And she knows it, but it's nice to be affirmed, from external sources. And so Laura, really quickly before we go, tell us about your program and how we can get on a better path.
Okay, I have a self-study course called Beginner's Guide to Chakras. And it's basically taking you through the 7 major chakras. Like I said, it's self-study, so it's own-paced. Once you have made the investment, it's lifetime access. So it's real easy video lessons. It's learning you about each chakra, its main area of concern, what it governs. It goes deeper than that. But it's designed to work with you over time. So the more you learn about your blockages and release them, there's also guided meditations that help you go deeper. There's worksheets with them with exact different techniques of how to use them so that you can go as deep as you're willing to go. And the more it's not the type of course you do once. You would continue to go back and use this. So the more your understanding and awareness of your energy grows, the deeper this course allows you to go with that work. Again, take inspiration, but not direction. You have to do this work. You have to be willing to do this work. So I designed the course that way. It's, purchase it, lifetime access. People then have this information. When I work with people, I'm not interested in being their coach for life. I'm interested in turning people into their own magic wands. For me, this is about empowerment. And when people feel empowered, they're able to go and live that life of wholeness, of satisfaction, of alignment. Because once we align our energy to source, once we're aligned within, that's what we experience on the outside. We don't get what we want, we get what we are. So we have to learn to align that energies. And once each chakra is in its optimal state of alignment, in it, it holds the perfect amount of truth and light. And we can then use that to guide ourselves. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I'll send you a link for that course that can go at the bottom of the description as well for anyone that's interested. And I would like to say a huge heartfelt thank you for having me on your podcast and allowing me to share my views and life experience. It's been such a pleasure. You are such a beautiful soul.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Laura. We have to stay connected. That's, like I said, the beauty of this. I don't know how else I would have encountered you, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. So, y'all, it's a wrap for this episode of Crown Level Confidence, where we're leading women worldwide to lower their stress and raise their levels of confidence. Y'all, it's the end of the episode, but stay tuned. We've got some words from our sponsors, some announcements, ways you can stay connected in the community. And, y'all, I love you. And more importantly, I'm so grateful that you love me too. All right, y'all, that's the wrap.